See now, and that's an awesome way to take advantage of the fact that you that as Zerg you don't have that many units, and you can do it in multiple ways. Like I mean, for example, if you're Protoss, your push comes a little earlier with multiple zealots. As Terran, this is an awesome play to make to build those banshees and harass the workers with banshees. It really forces Zerg to think about the fact that they're getting that very early expansion and lots of drones. Maybe they need to get detection earlier, or maybe they need to get more anti-air a little bit earlier. It seems like Zerg wouldn't have been able to hold off if they had gotten that overload earlier, maybe had an extra queen or some earlier hydralisks.
Yeah.
But that makes them think, you know what I mean? Can I get away with expanding this early?
Yeah.
And really, there's two ways to deal with something like that when Zerg fast expands like that. You can either force them to not fast expand, which you do before they go through with their plan, or you can do something like build banshees, which punishes them after they got too greedy. And I like the banshee play because it's a chance to win. You know what I mean? Like if you force them to not do it, you're not winning. But if you take advantage of the fact that they did do it, you can totally have an opportunity to take the game at that point. And it looks like maybe he might have, because right now, I mean, actually he caught up again in resources really quickly. But I mean, he's gonna.
Just taking more and more of these drones out. There's a battle going down at the Zelnaga.
And it's going to be really close. Wow.
But now you're seeing the difference between...
that was funny. The Hydralisks weren't firing at the units because they were on hold position outside of the fog.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
But you see differences now in the battles already, because
there's a much lower number of Hydralisks, where before you had a swarm, now we have a small group.
And so now Grog is starting to get on even footing in general, and again using the mobility and the power of Terran to just split the Zerg up. And I hope we're going for a drop, or we're just taking them on like a pleasure cruise around the Terran base.
This is totally an awesome map for drops because of how close the starting positions are by air. Oh my god, this is gonna hurt so bad.
This is the SCV trading. Zerglings coming in while this drop happens.
Oh, it's so painful.
But really, at this point, Grog's only losing one round to SCVs, while Feint is now losing his second round of drones.
Yeah, but also you have to bear in mind that drones can be reproduced so much more quickly than SCVs.
Yeah, that's true.
And this is going to also hurt tremendously. Is Grog going to lose all of his SCVs? See, I had thought that this game was pretty much over for Feint, but this is essentially evening the game, because now they are both in similarly sucky situations.
Yeah. But again, still, even though Grog has not pulled his troops back, because he's taking priority of just wrecking this economy.
Yeah.
Like it takes precedence over anything else. Make sure Zerg does not come back economically.
Yeah, he almost got that layer too. That was interesting. But now he is gonna have to pull back. It's weird that his units are actually not engaging. He must be distracted with something. Sometimes Starcraft gets pretty intense, but now those Zerglings will die in the blue flame of God.
Now let's look at we are looking at income. Still,
now it's all back to the Stone Age though.
Yeah, but still, at this point, that might have hurt Grog a lot, and it's not the ideal situation that you want, but we're not anywhere near the train wreck situation of the first game.
Yeah.
Nowhere near. And, I don't know. Let's see what happens with this war right here. Grog is pulling back, knowing, I don't know if I can deal with this. But still, more dropships. Grog focusing his attentions fully on hurting the economy. He's just going to pump units, I guess, out of these buildings just to take this force out slowly.
And here come the Hellions. Hellions are awesome at killing Hydralisks. I think if he came in with those 3 Hellions, I know he could take out those Hydralisks, definitely. Especially if the Hydralisks don't fight the Hellions and instead only focus on killing SCVs. And especially if Grog forgets to move his Hellions forward to kill the Hydralisks.
Well, he's forgetting because he's having a drop going down right now.
And this drop is going to be massive. Oh, my God.
So just look at Grog bypassing the fights every chance he gets. He's, even when he's being engaged, he's not engaging back. He is only focused on economy.
He knows he needs to kill the drones.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And so now at this point, Feint is really in a situation that I don't think he can come back from at all.
Yeah. I think that, Feint, I don't know if Feint can come back from this, really. is what you just said, and I said it again.
Did you?
Yeah. This game is pretty cool. I like all the back and forth. You know, how is his saturation at his main feints?
Feints?
Yeah.
When he resaturated
Still-
it, it's good.
Still pretty good. And how is Grog's saturation? I'm trying to figure out if I feel like Grog could. I mean, here's the thing, and this is where it comes in. I feel like Grog's experience comes into play here, because they're both in similarly shitty situations.
Yeah.
What's Army like? I mean, Feint has marginally less army, but he can produce really quickly. I mean, honestly, I don't feel like Feint's out here. I think he's GGing because he feels like he's in a bad situation.
Well, he went for maybe it was a little premature, but at the same time, he was going for an economic build, an economic game. Grog denied him that from the beginning and throughout the entire game, and I just feel like maybe he's at the point where it's just his build is done, and from here it's just like, you know.
See, I don't think he lost this game. Right now, if we look at where see, I feel like this is like, honestly, this is an interesting separate point, and it's a tangent from what we were gonna say, but I don't feel like Feint should have GG'd here, because if you look at their unit count, if you look at units lost, we can see that he's lost only marginally more than Terran. Terran can't have that much more of a standing forces in terms of resources than Zerg has. Terran's army consists of 10 Hellions, which are good, and 20 Marines, which are also good. And Zerg has what's Zerg's army?
Zerg has one Hydralisk, which is probably why he GG'd, to be honest, because all Grog had to do was pick up those 10 Hellions and these 5 medevacs
and drop in his
and
main.
drop right here. And
but I mean, look, but also you have to consider the fact that Feint has how many look how many spine crawls he has. He has at his choke.
At the choke, but with a drop, you just put. He has
but
nothing back here.
He can just lift them up right now.
Yeah.
Basically, I don't think this game is over. He has way more drones. As long as he can start mining again, he's going to be in such a good situation. And right now, Grog is done. Right now, who's in a worse situation right now, army aside, Feint or Grog? Grog is in such a bad situation.
But again, still, it's a close call, because if Grog wanted to, he could come in and finish the game if he moved right now.
Yeah, but back to the original point of how to fight a Zerg that does this is a really good example of that also, because the answer is to fight him at his drones and fight him at his larva count. And I'd be really interested to see more situations like and so now let's talk a little bit about, you know, how in general do you fight Zergs. So as Protoss, you know, when you're up against Zerg and you know Zerg's gonna take a fast expansion, get a third, and then mass hydras, you go for an early 2-gate build where you come in with zealots and you pressure the expansion before they get any units, and you force them to make Zerglings. The reason being, you want them to not have those drones have those larvae become drones.
So when you're moving in that position, though, as Protoss in a game that you're playing, say, are you engaging at that point still, or are you doing the tactic of?
A lot of times I will push in and engage the hatchery, but if he has those units already, I won't, because all you want him to do is to not have those larvae become drones.
Okay.
And basically, what I'm trying to say is this: it's not about those little details. It's about the fact that as Protoss against Zerg, you want to push really early, because you don't have effective means to kill drones later in the same way that Terran does here. So you push early, prevent him from getting his economy rolling at the beginning of the game, and then you follow up by expanding yourself and building your very strong Protoss units, which can then secure a win in the mid game. Or you continue to harass his front. Anyway, by contrast, what we see here as Terran doing is Terran doesn't have that strong army to follow up an early harass that Terran does. I mean, that Protoss does. I could see a Terran going for a fast Hellion harass to harass the expansion.
Well, again, in that timing window that we spoke about before, not even the expansion, the main, if he can get up the ramp.
In the main, or even to harass if he gets it fast enough, if he gets a really fast factory with a reactor core and gets 4 Hellions out, they can come in and harass the natural. But and then force drones to not be made, basically. But also as an alternative to that, mid game where Terran doesn't have that scary army of Colossuses behind Stalkers, Sentries, and Zealots that Protoss has, which is terrifying to Zerg when you have mass hydras. It just destroys them. What Terran does have is very mobile infantry and dropships, medevacs, whatever. And so you can do what he's doing here, which is you can. You can essentially fly your army into the back of their base, drop, kill their drones, pick up, fly to another place, drop, kill their drones. That's a good way to fight it as Terran.